After one of the best qualifying sessions of the year, Charles Leclerc heartbroken, but Lando Norris and McLaren looking very, very happy. Lando Norris has taken pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a bit of a difficult day for Ferrari with some issues with Hamilton and Leclerc. Tim Kraaij from GPBlog is on the ground. It was Charles Leclerc looking sad, and Lewis Hamilton has a reason to be sad as well. He's got a 3-place grid drop for tomorrow's race just coming through, and that at Monaco is really going to hurt him.
Yeah, very harsh for Hamilton, of course, that penalty, because he had a quite a good weekend. We spoke afterwards in the pen with him. He was disappointed because the overall weekend has been good. He was talking about getting used to the Ferrari. He has never driven in Monaco before with the Ferrari, and he was comparing it with Charles Leclerc, who of course has a lot more experience with the Ferrari here in Monaco. Yeah, experience from earlier years on how to set up the car, how the car will behave in these type of tracks. So of course Leclerc had that advantage compared to Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, 3-place grid drop, quite harsh. Afterwards we spoke with him, but also with Max Verstappen, who both got to the stewards. Lewis Hamilton was quite clear. He got told over the radio that he had to slow down first for Max Verstappen. Then they said that Max was on a slow lap, so he paced up. But then, yeah, Max definitely wasn't on a fast lap. So Lewis wasn't to blame. Ferrari was to blame. Was somewhat similar of what Max said. He defended Lewis, that Lewis couldn't do anything about it. But Max said as well that, yeah, I've had a grid penalty of 1 place for even not impeding someone. So if they are consistent, there has to be a grid penalty. And yeah, he was not advertising for a penalty for Lewis Hamilton, but it was quite clear that he wanted that it would be fair to have a penalty for Lewis Hamilton now after all the penalties that he's gotten so far. Lewis Hamilton got the penalty, 3-place grid drop, and Max gets P4 of Lewis, so starting right behind Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, and beside Oscar Piastri, who was leading the championship still, so right there in the mix.
Wow, you couldn't imagine the days where Max Verstappen would be defending Lewis Hamilton a few years ago, but here we are. Strange things are going on in Formula One, and it was McLaren versus Ferrari and not McLaren versus Red Bull. So what is the reaction from McLaren? Are they extremely happy with this result, or were they thinking it could have been a front row lockout if Oscar had got a little bit faster?
Yeah, the media session with Andrea Stella got out of hand quite quickly again, because we were talking about apples, pears, how you say pears in England, because Andrea Stella called it pears yesterday. And according to all the British journalists, what maybe some of the viewers also acknowledge is that the saying in England is not apples and pears, which it is in Italy and also in the Netherlands, as I know, but that it's apples and oranges. So a completely other saying. And then we got to the Spanish one, and he was saying, like, we have apples and bananas as the comparison. So we had a lot of talk about fruit. Coming back to the point, McLaren is very happy. Why? Because they're quick on the Apple circuits, the circuits medium speed with high speed. They're quick on the pears, where Red Bull is maybe a little bit quicker when there's more high speed, like Suzuka and like we had in Imola. And then we had the peaches, who were the low speed circuits, and they weren't quite sure. They thought Ferrari would have the benefit there. And Ferrari was quite quick. Maybe there was a little bit more into it today, but McLaren was on pole again. And yeah, I think in that whole fruit collection that we have right now, McLaren is always there, and most of the time the quickest car out there. So I think in terms of the championship, yeah, very good news for McLaren at the moment.
I think Sam Collins has got his job quite safe with you around, Tim, talking about the different tracks as fruit, but I digress a little bit. I know you always have a chance to speak with Red Bull, and you already mentioned Max Verstappen a little bit. He's defended Lewis Hamilton, surprisingly, but anything else from the Red Bull camp that you can tell us before tomorrow's Grand Prix?
I think they're at least hoping for some strategic options. Of course, we have the 2-stop mandatory now here in Monaco, so that will spice things up a little bit. Helmut Marko said yesterday that it would be a lottery now in the race. Of course, the front runners won't take that many risks as maybe some of the midfielders and backmarkers will do, but it will play a role in tomorrow's race, and it can be positive, it can be negative. I think one thing is for sure, and that is that Max is the best driver from McLaren on pole position for him now. And it sounds strange, but yeah, we see different winners from McLaren every time McLaren is quick. Sometimes it's Lando, sometimes it's Oscar, and that's helping Max in the championship overall, because it means that he can keep close to them, and that the front-running McLaren in the championship is not making massive gains over the whole season. And that's the thing where McLaren really has two drivers on equal terms. I think overall Max can be quite happy because overall he's standing alongside Oscar Piastri, who is the leading McLaren in the championship. If he has a good start or a good undercut, he can maybe be on the podium even.
Is there any chance, do you think, or anything you've got from your conversations maybe, that Isaac Hadjar could be used as a second Red Bull driver? Because he's just right up there. What a terrific qualifying for Hadjar. P5 in his debut at Monaco in Formula 1. Do you think he could be used as a rear gunner?
Officially, no, but we've seen in the past some easy overtakes of the Red Bull junior team, both in the same hospitality here on the left side of me. Isaac Hadjar, incredible qualification here. First time in an F1 car here in Monaco. And of course, his teammate is doing the same. But I think if you look at the start of this season, how impressive he has been already in the first two races alongside Yuki Tsunoda, but especially after when Liam Lawson returned to the team, he has been the outstanding driver of VCARB at the moment. And Hadjar, especially after what happened on the Friday with his crash, of course, it's quite impressive to take P6, what will be P5 after the qualification penalty that Lewis Hamilton got.
And then it was, of course, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc fighting for pole in the end. And like I said, Ferrari and McLaren. But did Max say anything about his chances of being in pole position? He'll be fancying his chances of a podium now. He's got the penalty for Lewis. But do you think he was ever in contention for P1?
No, according to him, not. And I think if you look at the timing sheets, 7/10, that's a little bit too big. Maybe there was a little bit more into the lap, you never know, but 7/10. I don't think Max leaves that on the table. Overall, the car, the Red Bull car, has never been good in Monaco ever since the new regulations 2022. Max said there was no chance of pole position in here, but a same point in terms of the McLaren drivers. Max said as well, it's only one race, I have to score points here. I only won 2 times here in Monaco and won 4 championships. So it's not the championship deciding race here in Monaco. It really is an outlier. It's a peach, not an apple or a pear. So I don't think Max really makes a big thing out of P4 here in Monaco. He's still there. He can score a lot of points and maybe come onto the podium with a good strategy as well.
Well, it's been a fruit salad of words from you, Tim. I can't wait to see what you're going to serve up to us tomorrow. Thank you again for everything from the updates from the paddock that you've been able to provide us this weekend. It's never usually the most interesting race, but we do have that element of 2 stops tomorrow. So looking forward to digesting that with you. Thank you for everything, and thank you everybody else for watching.